People who met their so or another important person in their life through Reddit. What's your story? Someone posted a photo of Jamaican patties that hit the front page. I commented that amazing patties were sold at a plaza near me, a rather obscure suburban one. I got replies saying, I never thought I'd see ____ plaza mentioned on Reddit. One user sent me a message asking for other takeout suggestions as he'd just moved near the plaza I wrote about. He mentioned his first name and the big box shop he works at, asking if I knew any good places near there as well. Fast forward 2 years and I'm shopping at the aforementioned big box shop, unable to find the item I need. I ask for help, and this cute guy starts looking up the item. I notice his name tag and the memory just clicks for some reason. Me, is your name ____? Him, yep. Me, do you go on Reddit? Him, yes. Me, we chatted 2 years ago about food. Him, relieved, oh. We've been together over 2 years and are moving in together this July, smiley face. Right after college I moved to a new city by myself and I was having trouble meeting people. I ventured onto the city's subreddit and saw a meetup posted for a Halloween pub crawl, so I decided to go. I told the group what costume I would be wearing and headed out. I got to the first bar a bit late, so I assumed the group had moved to the next one. The group saw me from the line for the next bar and called me over, but just as they did, 2 very shady-looking guys who had apparently been following me since the last bar popped up from behind me and told me they were here to take me to the party. One of the members of the Reddit group I was going to meet stepped forward and said, "No, this is our friend, she's with us, you two can leave." So, essentially a group of Reddit strangers saved me from real-life strangers. That was 5 years ago, and the group I met that night and I are still super close even though only about half of the original group still lives in the same city. We group chat and/or roast each other every day. I also met my so of 3+ years through the group, so thanks to Reddit not only did I not get kidnapped but I also met most of my favorite people in the world. I posted to my local subreddit for a few weeks that I was going to play trivia every so often, looking for new friends. One time a guy comments, "Sure, sounds like fun." So we're at trivia with 2 other friends of mine and I just immediately like him. I get him to follow us to karaoke after that. I messaged him a few times, found out he was on OkCupid and was single and asked him out about a week or 2 later. Been together almost 7 years now and married for almost 3. Met my ex-GF now best friend on Reddit. She uploaded the picture of one of the cats in my college campus, I identified it, texted, and eventually we met up in college. Best relationship ever. However, while being with me she learned that she wasn't into men. So we stayed as friends and hang out almost every day. Well, yes, but actually no. Was going through a depressive time. July 16, 2017 was the death date I decided for myself. I purchased a lot of drugs. I was gonna OD myself. I was addicted to OxyContin. I also self-harmed. July 15, 2017, I decided to go do something that I loved for my last day on Earth. Play some video games. I got into a lobby of 4 people. Usually I'd mute the players and play music instead, but for some reason something told me to listen. There was a woman in the lobby. She tried including me on the conversations she was having with her 3 friends. So I joined in and it was all great and fun. The next day, my death date, we chatted all day and played video games all night. She made me feel happy and totally made me forget about wanting to kill myself and made the loud voice in my head quiet. To this day, we've almost known each other for 2 years. She's my girlfriend and soon-to-be fiancé. She has 2 amazing kids and I love them both. They call me Dad. She saved my life and gave me a family and lots of love. I owe her the world. Met my so on a friend-making subreddit after a really bad breakup. Long distance for 3 years, together 5 years this October. He lived a couple states over from me. We would Skype every day for hours. We started off as friends but it turned into something more. Still love him. Edit, the sub was, need a friend. Less than 3 you too. Source, boyfriend. Has she ever threatened you with her nudes? And has he ever terrorized you with green? My cat is significant in my life. He found me on Reddit when he prompted his first owner to look for a new home for him online as he wasn't doing well with his dog roommate. I've had him ever since. Edit, gold for photos sounds like a fair trade. Presenting Adonis. Donnie. My now husband and I both responded to a thread looking for players for a particular role-playing game, and time and commitments worked out so that we both ended up in the same group playing this game. We got to chatting outside the game when I'd mentioned something about my ex-husband, who I still lived with at the time despite being divorced. My now husband was confused about my living situation, so he asked me a few questions, we started chatting more and ended up playing in another game together. At the time I was single, but not really looking. And I'd told myself I wasn't going to do a long-distance relationship again. My first marriage had started long-distance as well, and in chatting about this, my now husband joked and said, "I'm going to make you love me." It went on for a few months after that, and in early 2014 we had a long chat by email and through Skype, a lot of back and forth, and eventually decided that okay, yeah, we'd try this thing. He was in the UK, I was in Australia. I went to the UK for the first time ever to visit him at the end of 2015. I went back again at the end of 2016, and in January 2017 he asked me to marry him. That was also the weekend my ex-husband died, so it was a very happy moment followed by several of the most traumatic weeks of my life. But my partner was so supportive and caring through the whole thing, I knew I'd made the right decision. I'd already sold my house in Australia back at the beginning of 2016, and unfortunately shortly after my ex passed away, our dog also died. So there was very little tying me back to my home country. We prepared all the documents and requirements for planning a wedding and a fiancé visa for the UK, and in August 2018 my visa was granted. I quit my job of 10 years, got on a plane and arrived in the UK in September 2018. We were married in October, and my temporary residence was approved in January 2019. We've been living together since September. Things aren't always perfect, but I'm happier than I'd been in a very long time. He's a very sweet man, I adore him to the ends of the earth, and I'm so happy that I get to spend, hopefully, the rest of my life with him. I had just moved to NZ and the Auckland sub was having semi-regular meetups. I decided to go and meet some new people. My partner was a local but had broken up with his girlfriend a few months prior and decided to go to the meetup for similar reasons. We made a good group of friends and ended up at a few outings together and started flirting. We started dating a couple months before my visa was up but could tell this had potential to be something special. We decided to move in together so that I would be eligible for a partnership visa and stay in the county. It made the relationship move pretty fast, but 5+ years later, we're married, bought a house in Auckland, a huge feat these days, have a lovely 2-year-old pupper, and just welcomed our baby girl into the world in March. We are so in love and have a wonderful, happy life together. All thanks to our Auckland having some meetups at the local pub. Please give me hope, my 2 years of redditing has yet to benefit me in any way. 6 years here. This ain't it, chief. Never on Reddit, though I'd consider there are a couple of people I've interacted with on here enough that I actually care about them. I met one girl on a message board a long time ago though. Not like, met a girl and wanted to bang, but someone who liked the same bands as me and was actually interesting to talk to. I've been talking to her for 25 years and never met her. She knows all about my life, family, ups, downs, etc., and I about hers. I'd say it's a truly pure and amazing friendship. Outside my immediate family, the most important to me. She literally is a best friend who doesn't really judge and actually cannot judge, and I know I truly care about and cares about me. It's one of my few constants in this world. God damn, 25 years is an insane amount of time. You going to try meeting her in real life sometime or what? It'll happen one day, we'll cross paths at some point. It's not a priority really, but it'll be a nice hug worth the wait. A 25-year catfish would be a huge yike. Haha dude, my only expectation is she's human. Met my so on a writing subreddit. Started talking, and talking turned into getting to know each other. I wasn't 100% sure I wanted to really start a relationship, and I honestly tried to end things and just walk away, but he sent me a really sweet, heartfelt message on Valentine's, of all days, and I realized, maybe this guy does like me, and he's actually been paying attention, learning about me. Fast forward 2 months, and after weeks of asking, I tell him he can take me out on a date. He drives 7 hours to come see me. God, we were both so nervous. He could barely talk and I couldn't shut up. He kissed me in the parking lot, my first kiss, and spent the weekend with me. That was over 2 years ago. We've been living together nearly a year, have 2 fur babies, and I'm more in love with him now than ever. He's the best choice I ever made. Best little orange envelope ever. I moved to another country to be an au pair after college and didn't know anyone who had ever been there. A boy in the city I was moving to asked if any Americans wanted to get coffee or beer so he could practice his English. He shared his Twitter profile so he seemed normal. I also read about how hard it was to make friends in Norway, so I was all over the idea of my first possible friend. He gave me a lot of good advice before I moved. He studied in the US as a college student, so had some good points of help. 3 weeks after I moved, he invited me to a party. I got pretty wasted, and he let me sleep in his bed while he slept on the couch. A month later we were dating, and 6 months later we were engaged. A year later he moved to the US, and a week after that we got married. Now, 4 years later, we have a cute puppy with a heart-shaped nose, and we will go back to Norway for his 30th this summer. I only started using Reddit to ask questions before I moved to another country, but since it brought me to meet my person, I figured it's worth sticking around on. Major shoutout to Norway. Edit, meet Bandit here. I was a high school graduate and extremely bored, so I decided to stay up all night and get donuts at stupid early in the morning. I really wanted someone to talk to keep me awake, so I browsed r for people around my age. Let's be honest, I was looking for guys around my age lol. I messaged a handful of people and talked to the first ones who messaged back. There were about 3, one guy the first talked to all night until I realized he was a frat boy douche, and 2 others who didn't really interest me because we didn't have the same, interests. I ended up messaging one of them back anyway, since I still had a couple hours to kill. He lived in PA and I lived in CO. We got along just fine, but I still wasn't very interested. He asked if we could Skype later that day, and I almost completely blew him off again. But I decided to give him a chance, and we Skyped while playing Minecraft together later that night. We had a blast and we talked for hours and hours and hours for several days. After a week or so, he asked me to be his girlfriend and I said yes. We met in person a couple months later and clicked instantly. We would visit each other a couple times a year until about 2.5 years ago, when we finally moved in together. Our 5-year anniversary is in about a week, smiley face. Edit, for anyone who happens to be reading this over a month after this post, my boyfriend and I have actually gotten back into Minecraft and it's a total blast. Feels just like old times. We have to use Skype since our computers are in 2 separate rooms, but across the hallway, so that's kinda goofy. It's so weird to be able to just say okay bye and then see each other in person directly afterward. When we were long distance, saying goodbye would be this whole big thing that took like 15 minutes lol. Not through Reddit, but I saw Reddit in the bookmarks of a now really good friend, when we met not long ago, so I started talk about it, now joke about Reddit and memes. It's cool, it's the only guy who understands my IRL memes references. But we don't know each other's username. Never exchange usernames. Never. My friend made that mistake to me once. I know him well enough that when I looked at his comments I was unsurprised. So, naturally I downvoted everything he posted, commented. Met a kid my age on teenagers, yes I am a teen too. He is a closeted gay and I have depression, so we both have someone to talk about our problems with. We play games together and we've introduced each other to our other friends. We talk all the time when we aren't playing games and he's just a cool guy. I'll keep it short. I ended up with 2 different girls, users, from Uruguay. First one. Didn't end so well. At all. I'm still dating the second one, she's beautiful and very similar to me. Our first date was at night, and it was raining like it never had in the past year at least, classic rom-com cliché. Posted on r4r looking for an NFL watching buddy. Since I'm a woman, I received upwards of 100 messages. Any woman that's ever posted on that sub knows how it is, but I made it harder on myself posting about a male-dominated hobby. For some reason one guy in particular stuck out. We messaged on and off and for brief periods of time for about 4 months. From then on we started chatting a lot more consistently. I had already developed a thing for him, and then I found out he lived in my dream city on top of it. 2,100 miles apart, and somehow we made long-distance work for 3 years. After 10 visits back and forth, this past December my dog and I moved in with him. He's sitting beside me right now, smiley face. I reconnected with an old friend of mine because of Reddit. Years ago I told this story involving my friend Andy from college. Later on that day I get a PM saying, "Hey, it's Andy from your story." I knew right away it was him because he called me by a nickname that only he called me. It was cool hearing from him because we hadn't talked in over 2 years and we ended up reconnecting. Now we're good friends again, and it all happened because he stumbled on a comment I wrote about him. Met my boyfriend on the Meet People subreddit 2 years ago. We became friends and became officially a couple 5 years ago. It's amazing to me how someone can become such an important part of your daily life. Even though he is so far away, I have never felt this close to anyone before. Something that I really like is that we communicate in a respectful way even if there is conflict. We try and always be open and honest, and I believe we are both very empathetic to each other's feelings and struggles. Smiley face. That's so funny. I met my boyfriend on Meet People. What's crazy is I met my former boyfriend on Eat People. It worked out well for me, him not so much. I wanna see this blow up. Username checks out. I met my husband on a BBS in 1992, pre-Reddit. We got married in 1997 and are still glad to see each other, so that's a win. Met on a subreddit's Discord server during a strange time in my life. We and a few others branched off into our own group, played video games together, and some nights there'd just be 3 of us sat up late at night talking about anything. Sometimes the other guy went to bed, other times we all went off at the same time. I fell for this guy on his voice and personality at first. As odd as that sounds, he was such a nice person to be around and talk to, and he had a nice voice. When he sent me a photo of himself, he was also very much my type. A short while later, I get tired of dropping hints hoping he'd ask me or initiate the romance talk, so I took the bull by the horns and told him how I felt. He admitted he'd never actually considered an LDR, took a few days to process, and then he got back to me and admitted I'd been on his mind a lot and he felt he was starting to feel the same way about me. We've been together for nearly 2 years now, in an LDR that's about 400 miles apart. We're closing the distance in less than 7 weeks' time now, though. I can't wait. Smiley face. I met my best mommy friend on Reddit. I was in a due date subreddit for pregnant women who were due in the same month, and that spun off into a Facebook group. At some point I realized that one of the girls lived less than a mile from our house, so we decided to meet up. Our little girls were born a week apart and now they will grow up together. Met my so at a Reddit meetup 4 years ago. I wanted to make some new friends, but I was not looking for a relationship. He got very drunk and told me he liked me and asked me on a date. I thought he was cute and seemed funny and interesting. I was right. The past 4 years have been amazing, challenging, and I would not have been able to predict my life would turn out this way. What do you call a sad computer? Adele. Apparently one terrible joke is all it took for us to start a conversation, followed by more talking, video chats, and him buying a plane ticket after a month and flying over 3,000 miles to see me. We started dating as soon as we met, have been together a year, and are moving in together soon. Smiley face. I met my life coach on Reddit. My nascent early comments made me sound like a poster boy for I am very smart. He PM'd, diagnosed my obvious insecurity, and over the course of several years helped me stop giving a fuck what people think of me. I posted on this thread as a straight male in KY near Cincinnati. Winking face. Hey. So you come here often? Reddit? Yeah, pretty often lol you? Same. If you like my awkward reply comments now, just wait until we meet in person. Hey, I am new to the area, so just meeting someone would be cool to me lol. Holy shit, get a room already. Sheesh. Anyone else reading these really cute stories and realizing how single they are? Cause same. It took me 4 minutes to figure out what so means. Yes, I am a certified idiot. It means significant other. WTH. I was a really lonely bi guy who had given up on girls, and so I always browsed new on LGBT subreddits hoping I'd meet someone. Well, one day someone posted that they were lonely and wanted to talk. I sent them a PM, got his snap, and we talked. All night long. And then all of the next day until our phones died in school. And the next day and the next day and the next day etc. Found out we lived in the same state close enough to drive to, and now I've been his for a little under 13 months. I don't know, anyone wants to write one together? I'm disabled and have no friends. Thanks to Reddit I met a person a month ago after years of chatting. Feels good. I hope to meet this person again and again, but we live in distant cities so it's hard. This made me more self-confident and happy. I can't explain to you how I felt that day. Thanks for watching our video. If you like it, please smash the subscribe and like button to support the channel, so that we can create more quality content in the future.